All right, let's dive into Bitcoin today. And of course, diving into Bitcoin and talking about whether or not it is the right time to take a loan on your Bitcoin. All that strategy and more, we'll dive into it. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into TechPath. Let's get into it today. Of course, Bitcoin's price over the past few days been falling. And I think for most people, the anticipation around both interest rates, the economy, inflation, we've got a global conflict, all of this is applying in. The fact that Bitcoin has been holding in the $38,000 to $40,000 range, to me, is just a testament to how strong this asset really is. But the strategy is, when do you take a loan out on your Bitcoin? Is it a good time to take the loan out, and when it will be too late? We're going to try to really dive into all those things for you. Let's get into this first story, and that is what's ahead for BTC. And this is according to one veteran trader looking at this, that they basically said, hey, listen, we've seen about a 40% drop since its all-time high. The likelihood is he's looking at a further dive on Bitcoin to go down. So I'd love to get your input right now. With Bitcoin trading in the 38 to 39 range as of recording, do you think we're going to see a $35,000 Bitcoin? Do you think many people, like we had Gareth Soloway on, that we could see a mid-20s range Bitcoin? Love to get kind of your feedback on where you think it's going. But veteran trader Tone Vase basically updating his forecast on Bitcoin, saying that we would see a lower position here, especially around when we saw the close under the 39.5 level. So we've obviously hit that on the close. Likelihood is, the question is, do we see a $36,000 or $37,000 Bitcoin maybe this week? That's going to be a big one. And I'll show you guys some sentiment data to kind of dive into that, because we've kind of been looking at this from our angle of what we do within the CPI. And it has some interesting signals that may indicate this timing that could be perfect for a crypto loan. And I'll talk to you a little bit about that. Another big factor is, of course, liquidations happening. And I think we're seeing more and more of this. The market had recorded number of dips, saw more than 80 billion shaved in the crypto market. This meant right now around 38,000 in the territory where we're trading currently. But the fact that we're seeing liquidations at the levels, not necessarily massive levels, but the fact that we are starting to see liquidations on this also is another sign that we could be seeing a little bit more of a dip coming. Now, the question is that sentiment has been slowing over the past 3 date periods that we've recorded in the CPI, which gave us a little bit of a pre-indicator of where Bitcoin was going. Now, there has been some little ups. Sure, we've had that 42K come close. And that was maybe for some of you, maybe you got a chance to do a little swing trade, and or maybe you had a long in and had a little bit of an opportunity to make some money on that one. Question is this week we've got some people within our crypto pit looking at maybe the flip side is Bitcoin could take one more slice out of the plus 40 range before we start to see Jerome Powell drop another interest rate hike on us. I'd love to get your input on whether or not you guys think it's going to go up on that. In looking at other indicators that tell me that is this the prime time as we see Bitcoin starting to readjust. Right now, the XAU and USD outlook, this of course is gold falling below 1900 on expectations of a more aggressive Fed strong dollar. This is really kind of the position right now where the dollar is strengthening a little bit and we see gold weakening. And the big question is whether or not Bitcoin will fall in terms of price according to a strengthening dollar. Now, in the past, we have seen, digital assets and especially the alternative assets, the more on-risk assets that have not responded well when a dollar position is stronger. Now, that's going to be the question that's going to ride out through both the inflation numbers and the CPI numbers that we'll see next month, and also the scenario of whether or not we're going to continue to see 50 basis point rate hikes according to the Fed, depending on whether this rolls out through the summer, which is really going to get to be interesting, because if that is the case, then this could be definitely one of those times where sell in May and kind of walk away might be the approach, because we may have some tough waters ahead. Let's get into a couple of things around the adoption, because this to me is the bigger factor here. This was, of course, on a previous report that really kind of broke down the strategy of how adoption might occur this year. This is 2022. So crypto adoption accelerating right now in 2022, more opportunities to use digital. You've got, AMC theaters really leaning into it along with many others. Likelihood is if we do see Elon purchase Twitter, we could see a on-ramp quickly to some sort of monetization system within Twitter that could apply to maybe something like Doge or other, maybe Bitcoin. Obviously, I think he will ping Jack Dorsey and their whole strategy. Maybe Dorsey and Elon come together on a strategy for Bitcoin in payments. But the fact that we're going to see 3.6 million Americans being able to essentially use crypto in a real utility case, and I think that is a huge step up from just this time last year. So imagine how much growth we've had in 1 year. And the opportunity, this is insider intelligence saying that crypto's use as a payment method will skyrocket 70% in 2022, 3.6 Americans paying for goods and services. And by end of this year, that's 2022, 33.7 million US adults will become crypto users. This is big adoption. Now, 33.7, still about 10% of the overall US population. Obviously, the United States being one of the biggest markets out there in terms of overall crypto investment. And I think that is one of the factors that we're going to continue to see grow and lead as a world, a world power. The key here, I think, especially around some of the legislation that starts to lean into this, which I still believe with even somewhat of what Biden has talked about, is leaning into crypto in a good way. Now, are we behind the eight ball? And, this is another discussion of behind the eight ball from a US standpoint when it comes to blockchain and Web3 development. I still believe we are, but it doesn't mean that the United States cannot really be in a fast catch-up lane to kind of correct what's been happening over the past 2 years. All right, let's pause for today's sponsor, and that is Celsius Network. 1.6 million people call Celsius their home for crypto. Join them to buy, swap, borrow, earn, and send crypto all in one app with zero fees and the best rates. Make sure and head over to Celsius.network to get started today. It really is going to lean in on whether or not the timing is right to take a loan. So one of the things that we do, one of our partners here on the channel, is Celsius. And I want to just jump over to Celsius and take a look at if you were going to take a loan. Let's say, for instance, you had a $10,000 loan need, and we're going to take that in USDC. We're going to convert Bitcoin. You're essentially going to be able to get this for a 1% interest rate. So you're talking about $8.33 a month on a loan, zero fees on the loan origination, all those kind of scenarios. You're just paying the interest. And the ability to take that crypto right now, whether you're doing this with Bitcoin, Ethereum, various assets on Celsius, the ability to take that crypto asset now and not sell it and convert it to a cash position while Bitcoin is at a lower position, your liquidation fees are going to be much, much lower. So you're pretty safe on being able to, because it's going to liquidate at 25%, because that's your equity position is 25% of your overall. So if you have 10,000 in Bitcoin, you're going to take a $2,500 loan. So the likelihood is you're never going to see any kind of liquidation scenarios occur. Very safe. And this seems to be the strategy that a lot of people are starting to lean in on right now and get positioned for Bitcoin and possibly a nice mid-run, or if we continue to see Bitcoin fall down. That's going to be the factor in many cases. Some people are buying and dollar cost averaging all the way down. For right now, the strategies that I'm looking at is under the $40,000 mark, and this could be anywhere between 39 and 32, that I'm looking at some opportunities of taking some crypto loan on my Bitcoin and maybe even on Ethereum. And the strategy here for this, because Celsius has changed a little bit of their structure here in the United States where you don't have the earn capacity there, but you still have full loan function. But for those of you outside the US, you still have full earn capacity within Celsius. And being able to move that USDC into the exchange of your choice, that might be, Crypto.com or Gemini or Voyager, whichever one is out there for you guys, then immediately turn that back either into Ethereum or Bitcoin. Maybe you took the loan out on Bitcoin and you want to increase your strategy on Ethereum or your position on Ethereum, and you're going that direction. Right now, I think timing is pretty good. And for me, the window is around 39 to 35. Those are some good positions. obviously for taking loans, because it just, in my opinion, Bitcoin is never going to see those low 20s again. The likelihood we may not even see a $20,000 Bitcoin as of yet, even though I think we have seen some pathways on the TA traders that have kind of pointed to a 20,000 potential. But as we look at sentiment, and I just wanted to pull up where we are right now, and just going over to the CPI for you guys. Remember, if you are CPI members, when you log on to our site, just click over here to the top right, you'll see your membership. Go to your library, it's going to pop you into the CPI, and you can go into the 15 different tokens that we're tracking currently. Let's just jump over to Bitcoin. And as you can see, the tracking for Bitcoin over the past 3 date periods, so this is since last Monday. So that was Monday, or actually it was since last, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or actually, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So that was our last rise, which was the 42K. Then we started to see a little bit of this dip, and now we have another dip as of this morning, the 25th. So still trending down right now. And if you look at this in comparison to what's happening on TradingView, let's just take a look here. And we've got Market Cipher engaged right here. So we are starting to see a little bit of exit. We saw a little bit of money flow right here, and this was when Bitcoin was moving up. The downward trend right here that we saw, a little bit of a pump right there. And then these basically for almost a flat day there yesterday. And then we're working on a red candle today. These are the daily closes. So daily close right there was 39.3. And it looks like this daily close kind of held right at 39.4. So sentiment down again to 71.20. Amplification still holding though at 70.23 from almost 10 days ago. So not bad on AMP. And what that tells me is that there's good signs for Bitcoin to potentially take a little bit of a leg up, even though we're seeing a bit of a leg down right now. So we may see this continue to stride downward for a bit, and then we may see a small pump on Bitcoin going forward. So I think a lot of this really, again, depends on your strategy, on whether or not taking loans on your cryptocurrency, because in many cases, if you're thinking about selling, this is the place that you don't. This is the time in which you might go after a loan if you're needing the cash, or if you're trying to reposition or rebalance your portfolio, because this could also move you into another position, maybe in another token. Maybe you're under exposed on Ethereum. Maybe that's an opportunity for you to get into Ethereum. And or maybe you're just a Bitcoin maximalist and you want to go in that direction, or maybe you want to take that cash and move into some games and or metaverse strategies. There's a lot here that can really put you in a very interesting position, especially on a potential loan capacity for Bitcoin. So again, remember, you guys are listening in over on the podcast right now. Make sure and give us some kudos over there. We love the feedback. But also the best thing to do to check out all these charts and a lot of our analytics, listen, you got to jump over here to the YouTube channel and just search Paul Barron Network. You'll find all of our videos here. And of course, if you're catching us on TechPath Crypto, like this podcast, don't forget to make sure and subscribe to Metaverse Insider. That's where we break down games. We do a ton of detail. We just dropped a video on Axie. One of the co-founders or COO of Axie really had a lot to say about Origins, kind of the future of where Axie is going. So make sure and check out that video. Also, if you guys want to catch me, it's out on Twitter at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.